ordered me to do so this, and guess what? Yes, when your days become amazing, miraculous days, when amazing days become part of your life, such is becoming my work, my encounters every day.
Action!
No, it's
Today,
okay. Go ahead.
I
promise you, Patrick,
took off from my project, went to the bank to deposit a check. On my way, I started thinking of driving to the new Barnes and Noble in Clark in New Jersey to check them out, see what new renovation setup took place since they relocated there. Because I do love, or used to love the old Barnes and Noble. I would spend there the whole day because it was the best library, the most current, where you had access to new magazines, new books, new authors, a place to bounce ideas, discover ideas, a place to refresh your mind, and so on and so on. So on my way on Chestnut Street as I was heading, quote, to Barnes and Noble, I had a need to use a bathroom, and the closest place happened to be Roselle Park Library. Pulled in, and as I walked in, I saw the shelf with displays of magazines, so I asked the librarian, was that all they had? They said, well, we have more stuff downstairs in the basement. So marched down to the basement, went to the magazine rack, found magazines that I especially like, and those are family handyman, because I'm a handyman. I love ideas. I like to see what others are doing, others are using their hands to do in the sphere of landscaping, gardening, and so on and so on. So I took myself a pile of those magazines, sat down, and started browsing through them. 10 minutes thereafter, walks a young lady with her earphones on, sets books down on the table, and she goes and starts to engage the librarian in a discussion about her opinion and views about how authors of romance should respond to setup and so on, because apparently she had just finished reading some novels. She's a voracious reader, so that's what the discussion was all about. And of course, the space was small, and I could not help to eavesdrop her intelligence, her depth of discussion. Once she was done, she came back to her table, sat down, and I looked at her and commended to her that I could not help myself but eavesdrop in the discussion she had, that it had depth to it, and she laughed. She said, oh, you did? And one thing led to another, and I asked the basic questions I ask of anybody I encounter in my life. What do you do? Why are you here? So she shared how she loves to read. She recommended Frank Ann's book, and she went to, it's like she knows the library like the back of her hand. She walked back in the library, came back with a big volume of Frank Ann's book, and she said, this one has all our versions that has been ever written, and I would recommend this to you. I confess how lazy in time I've become as a reader of books. And, she encouraged me. She said, oh, you shouldn't be. So I promised her I will do something my daughter Mwende does when she's driving from Baltimore to New Jersey, and that is listen to audiobooks. And I think I'm going to start doing that, picking audiobooks to do that. And as I prepare, quote, hopefully to travel, I'm going to load my phone with audiobooks to keep me company, including my music as I take the 16-hour journey travel to Kenya. Anyway, the short end is this.
I had a small voice whisper, "You need not go to Barnes and Noble. You can spend a few minutes at Roselle Park Library." And as a result, I met Marie. She's a victim, or she's not a victim really. She has cerebral palsy. She's a poet. She's an author. So I asked her, since I've noticed from having raised a daughter who is a poet, who started presenting her poems at Barnes and Noble at the age of 12, 11, has she ever presented her poems anywhere? Her confession was she fears because of a cerebral palsy pattern of speech. People might not pay attention to her. And of course, I challenged. I said we were already having a very animated, wonderful conversation. And that seemed to ring a bell. And then I'm 72. I've lived long enough. I asked her if she were to go to a florist store that had only roses of one color, would it trigger an excitement in her mind, both visually and otherwise? She said, of course not. And this was the analogy. I say she was a purple rose and I was maybe a blue lavender, and we needed to be put in the same jar to make the setting and the display beautiful. The bell rang, and then I went to the next level. I say, you are denying me the opportunity of getting the gift that God has put in your mind, in your heart, that belongs to me and to the community. All those poems that you have written, 5 journals that you have written that are collecting dust, is an accusation against you, because you will not be in this library, you will not be devouring books if the same authors that have written those books that you love so much had the same attitude that you have, meaning they would write the books but they will never see the light of day. That triggered something in her heart, because she got up from her table, came and asked me to get up, and she came and gave me a hug and made me a promise that I have a clip of, that the first novel she writes, she is going to autograph it to Patrick. And I called as a librarian staff to have this confession put in record. And I told Marie, you are not going to escape now. I have the evidence. And she's committed to that. And I'm committed to highlighting the encounters of the walk with God when He whispers in a small voice.
I promise you,
Both of
Patrick,
us
that when
left
I publish my
that
novel,
library
I shall give you a signed copy
blessed.
in person.
Amen.
The library became a holy place. It was quiet. Everybody was quiet. In a sacred moment of reflection. Again, I want to tell you, whispers that are silent, that are obeyed, lead to an amazing miracles. And I had mine today. I met Marie. She wrote an app that she loves to use for writing. So I gave her my contact, my social media presence, and I did not bother to ask her for her contacts, no phone number, because I will wait for the next revealing of the author that will give the first copy authored and autographed to me, because she said she'll bring it to Roselle Park Library. And I'm going to assume she'll give them my number. They will call me, and then again, now we will have a celebration to present Marie to the world. Be blessed and learn to obey the small whisper that you hear in the background deep in your heart. Be blessed. This is the teenager reflecting on the amazing walk I walk with God.